DJ producer extraordinaire.
Hey there!
His resume includes remix work for Lady Gaga, Skrillex, Black Eyed Peas, and recently he did some production work for Justin Bieber.
That's right.
And so, and so to ask what I'm sure is on everyone's mind here, what's Justin Bieber like?
I think he's great. He's talented, and he's way more talented than people probably think or know. It's easy to hate on someone just because he's, famous.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think about it, he's like, I don't know, 18 or how old he is. He knows how to play instruments, and he knows how to sing and make songs. I mean, it was great.
Yeah, he seems like one of those like Justin Timberlake who has a potential to transform himself.
That's what I think he's gonna be, because when he's, 21, 22, I can totally imagine him being like a next Justin Justin.
I have to say though, I never expected to see yourself, Nicki Minaj, and Justin Bieber on the same track.
I did not.
Yes.
I mean, for me it was I made this track, and I sent it to Max Martin. And in the first place, it was the biggest honor for me to work with Max Martin, and then we were going back and forth, who would fit the song. And I wasn't convinced first, just because I probably had rather a female vocal in my head, just when I made the song. But when we met Justin in the studio, he just, he nailed it. I couldn't say anything. I was really surprised and really, really happy.
Yeah, I know EDM in general has just experienced such a emergence the past 3 or 4 years when you really started doing your production.
Yeah.
Do you think it's had any sort of growing pains, or do you think it's kind of fit into that role quite nicely?
Well, I don't know. The thing is, as you say, the last 2 years were probably like the 2 biggest years for electronic music. But before that, I've never really been so much into electronic music. A lot of people ask me, about the change, and it's really hard for me to say because I've been making metal literally 4 years ago.
Right.
And I was a drummer in a band, and I used to play in front of 50 kids, and it was a completely different thing. And I just got into the scene right at the time when everything started to explode and people really wanting it. So it's hard for me to really judge the change, I would say. Mm-hmm. But you can't deny that. Kids really like that kind of music at the moment.
Right. I know you got your start at a very, very young age.
Yeah.
You started playing piano at when you were 4 years old.
That's right, yeah. I started with classical music, and my parents loved listening to like King Crimson, Genesis, yes, Deep Purple, Rainbow, that kind of music. Mm-hmm. So that's what I just automatically started listening to, and also started making music like that in my band. And electronic music was the very, very last step.
Do you still remember the first song that you learned when you were 4?
What is that?
Do you still remember the first song you learned when you were 4?
The first electronic song?
No, the first song you learned on piano when you were 4 years old.
I don't really know. I mean, I started just hammering on the piano. That's how I started. A mix of fighting and playing, I guess. And it was really more like classical music, and then I just started. I have the first recordings. I'm afraid of showing them to people, but maybe at some point I will, where I'm like 5 or 6 and I have the first songs on like a keyboard, really cheesy and really bad, but awesome at the same time.
Right.
But I don't remember what it was. Can't really tell.
And your first band was Diorama?
That's Dyramic is the band I played in.
And you were 13 years old at the time?
I started when I was 12. And basically my brother founded that band, and at that time the rehearsal room was his bedroom, and his bedroom was next to my room. And I never played the drums before, but I hated that I was in my room listening to him making music. So I just walked in and decided I'm gonna play the drums.
Right.
Done. Next. And then that's how it actually came up.
But I mean, you guys were signed to a label even. I mean, it wasn't just some basement sort of project.
I mean, it started as one, but then we signed to Life Force, which is like a metal label, and we released an album. And already when I was Zed and touring a lot, I flew back from the States from, I think, the tour I played was Skrillex, straight to the studio, recorded the album on the drums, and flew right back. DJing, and now it's just way too difficult to do both. So I can't really be in the band.
Do you think your background as a metal drummer, do you think it all kind of influences the music you're working on now?
I personally think so. There are songs on my album where I really think you can actually hear that I've spent a lot of time being in a metal band, and you could easily play those whole songs in a band.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that it does make a difference, and I'm also really happy that my parents forced me to play the piano, because I don't know if I would make the same kind of music if I did not learn to play the piano. And that's how I start most of my songs. I just play the piano, and then whatever chord progression comes out or whatever idea I get from that, I make it to a song.
Have you ever thought about doing metal remixes, or?
I did, actually.
Okay,
There's
okay.
a band called Periphery, which
Okay.
I really loved listening to, and I made a remix for them, and it was fun because I remember the first time I heard that band on MySpace, and I thought, damn, those guys are amazing. And then at some point they just asked me to do a remix, so it was a big honor and a lot of fun.
Cool. So what was your epiphany? What was your bridge from doing metal to suddenly getting into electronic music?
Well, really the bridge was Justice, Cross. I remember that situation because it pretty much changed my life. I was recording a drum album, and there was just this Justice CD, and I had to buy food, so I just took it and just checked out what kind of music that was, and it really reminded me of Daft Punk. And I don't know how, but I never was into electronic music. Still, the first album I've ever bought was Daft Punk, and I really went away from electronic music for like 10 years, making rock and metal. And when I heard Justice, I was like, there was this connection, and then I just wanted to make music like that, just for fun. I never wanted to sell anything or, make money off that or play big shows. I just started making music.
Have you ever gone to connect with Justice and relate that to them?
I played 2 shows with them, but I was so starstruck that I couldn't say hi or talk to them.
Sure.
And I've been on tour with Lady Gaga, but being in front of Justice was like, I couldn't say anything. But yeah, I would love to.
I
connect with
have
those
to
guys.
say, I was checking out your set earlier today, and it was awesome.
Thank you so much.
And yes, and I was kind of crisscrossing between Tame Impala and you.
I'm sorry, what is it?
I was crisscrossing between seeing Tame Impala and you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Tame Impala are great as well, but the difference in energy was like palpable. It was just so different.
That's really the scene at the moment. I can't really compare that because, I've been touring for a lot of years being a drummer, and everyone's kind of looking at you, and they're waiting, they're enjoying it, and they like it, and then the song is over, everyone's cheering, and then go on to the next song.
Right.
But here, people are like, the energy is another level, and the energy is staying high all the time, and you only I like to play really fast, so I only like to give people some moments to breathe before I want everyone to go nuts again, and people I know, it's about having a good time, way more than I feel it was when in the time where I was in the band. It's just, for me, it's about giving people a good time. For people, it's about having a good time. Sounds like a win-win to me.
For those of us who have never had that experience, which I imagine is everyone in this room except for you, is there any sort of metaphor you can give us about being the focal point of all that energy?
A metaphor. How about
Or is
shaving?
there some way to describe it?
I would describe it with shaving. It's an amazing feeling.
Okay.
You're enjoying it, and maybe sometimes you don't want to do it, but after you did it, you feel amazing.
Fair enough. A big topic in the EDM world right now has been kind of the back and forth between Deadmau5 and A-Trak.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I'm referencing?
Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll summarize the best I can. Deadmau5 said it's more of about a visual and performance pageantry aspect, and
Right.
A-Trak said it's more of about a live music aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you kind of weigh in on that divide?
I've read the post on Tumblr that you're talking about, that Deadmau5 posted, and I personally, to me, I read it and I was like, yeah, respect for saying that. I told him, but I didn't think about it. But then the media, that's what everyone's waiting for, They want to talk about it. They want everyone to talk about it. I think in a way he's right. In fact, I am pressing buttons. I'm not playing a guitar or playing the drums. I am pressing buttons, but there's nothing wrong with it. That's the point. I think he is right in a way, and I think that people probably misunderstand him a little bit and want to misunderstand him, so there's a lot to talk about. But to me, that was not a big deal. And I think A-Track is absolutely right with what he said. To me, the point is there's nothing wrong with pressing buttons because it's still not easy to do. You know, beat matching, yes, I guess everyone could do it nowadays, but still you will not play the same set as a DJ that has been touring for years. And I just think there's nothing wrong with it. As long as people have a good time, that's all what it's about. I don't have to sweat or, you know, jump or dance. As long as everyone is happy, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, I guess it's all about the end experience and not necessarily
exactly.
what goes
I
into
mean,
it.
however you get there, that doesn't matter. As long as I have a good time on stage, that's important for me. And as long as people have a good time out there, that's all I care about. And if I would only press one button and I would be able to make a lot of people happy with one button push, if I can do that, I'm fine with that. Or if someone else does, you know, I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as people enjoy themselves, that's all what it's about.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's talk about the new album, your Interscope album.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, my album.
The album.
Big thing. I've been working on that piece forever and ever, and it's almost done. After this, I'm gonna fly to LA and try to finish it actually next week.
Yeah, well, the lead single on it's huge, Spectrum. I know that you did a remix contest
right.
around it. Can you tell us something about that?
I mean, you know, parts of how I started my career was the remix contest on Beatport. That's really how I made this remix for Armand van Helden, which was my remix for the competition. And based on that, a lot of people asked me to do more remixes, so that's how I started becoming getting fans. And that's how I, in the end of the day, got where I am today. And I just wanted to give someone else the same chance, you know. I know that the amount of remixes was insane. It was like 2,500 remixes,
Wow.
which is like the biggest remix competition ever, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And I just hope to be able to give some people the same chance that I was given when I started my career.
Have you gotten one remix that's taken the song really far out without totally breaking it?
In the remix competition?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yes.
it just, I mean, I made two things. I made the remix competition. I asked other people to remix the songs.
Right.
And I was really surprised of how many ways there are you can actually make the song something completely different. And I've heard great remixes. It's really hard to decide because you kind of you put the spotlight on one young kid, and I really want to make sure I make the right decision. And I will take 24 hours and probably try to go through everything again and really find the right one.
Right. Yeah. So when does the album drop? When does it come out?
I mean, really, it depends on how fast I can finish it. If I
Right.
can get it done next week, I would aim for like October. But it's really just as soon as I get it done, I will give it to the label and we will make sure to release it as fast as we can because I love to put out music as fresh and hot as possible.
Are there any sort of overarching themes or concepts you're trying to work with for it?
I mean, for me, it's just on this album, I just want to make sure it's something timeless. And, you know, I love electronic music and I kind of separate sometimes real music, electronic music, and club tools. Which, for example, Shotgun was a song I made that was strictly made for clubs and for live performances. And I made it for this reason that I don't need people to listen to it on the radio at all. People listen to it on the radio and don't understand what it's about. But when people are out there hearing the song, and you know, I've been mixing the song in a club because that's what I made it for. And my album is really not about club or whatever you want to drops, whatever you want to call it. It's just about music, and I didn't just make 10 songs, but I actually thought about like telling a little story and how I combine the songs and how I connect the songs. And yeah, I'm extremely excited about it.
Cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Like I said, thanks for the show today. It was great, and thanks for dropping in.
Anytime.
Actually, we'll take a few questions from the audience.
Sure.
If anyone has any questions. Okay, do we have the microphone hander?
Oh, there it comes. There it comes.
Our assistant Jen will be helping us out today. And Jen's a metal fan, so I think she appreciated all my metal questions.
Almost there.
Hello.
There.
What software do you use to record your songs or whatever you use?
I use Cubase,
Oh, same
but
with me.
really, I tried Ableton, and I worked with people using Logic. I use Pro Tools for recording vocals, and friends of mine use Fruity Loops. It's really the exact same thing. The only difference is what you're comfortable with, and the workflow and the look. It really doesn't matter. You can achieve the exact same thing in any DW. It really doesn't matter what you use. It's just about what you make out of it.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, so like, I guess like my question is, like when you hear like your original song, right? Like we all hear like common people were like, that's amazing.
Sorry, can you? I
think
can't
he's
really
having a
hear.
hard time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, there we go.
Sorry.
Right, sorry. But when we hear like your original song, like we're all like, oh, that's really amazing. But like we don't really know, what you go through necessarily to get there. So like, do you ever really get stuck? And if you do, like, when you're songwriting,
You mind
like,
if I get stuck producing a song?
yeah,
Oh, absolutely. I have those moments all the time, but and I had those moments a lot of the times, and there were always key moments that made me realize that I will never stop being able to, get through that phase and make something great. And you just have to be. I mean, everyone has moments where you're like, I just don't know where to go with this song, and a lot of the songs on my album were like that. Spectrum, for example, was a song. It was just there, like it just was perfect. But there were songs I had to fight and work on for weeks and months. So whenever you have that, you just, you'll get there, and maybe it's worth it just going on vacation, having a drink, and next week you're probably gonna find it the exact right thing for the song.
I think
Nice
we-
shirt, by the way.
We
I
have
like
one
that.
more over here.
First of all, I want to say that your set was really, really awesome. I loved it so much. I cried.
Thanks so much. Oh,
Second, your remix to The Legend of Zelda is superb. That's my favorite game of all time.
thank you. Oh, that's
And
nice.
third, how do you feel about the recent success of Spectrum?
I'm sorry, but what?
How do you feel about the recent success of Spectrum, the track?
I'll be honest, I'm very surprised
Yeah.
because Spectrum is more the sound of my album.
Yeah.
It was a song for my album, and the single that we were supposed to release or plan to release is
Yeah.
a different one than Spectrum.
Yeah.
But literally, I finished the song and we just changed the whole plan. It was like Spectrum is the song, and I didn't think about it. Usually, back I don't know, when I did Shave It and all those songs, I really thought about what people would probably like, what they would expect, what they probably would want to hear, and I completely stopped giving a shit. And I just decided, with that song, I never played Spectrum out, never before I released it. So I didn't even
Yeah.
know if it would sound right, but musically, it was fine. So I decided that's all I need, and I mean, it was really successful, and a lot of DJs play that song, and it makes me really happy. And then-
Did you go back and re-record some stuff from your album to kind of fit that vibe, or?
No, not really. I mean, it does make sense the way it is, and Spectrum was kind of just like the last part that was missing. And I also made songs after Spectrum that are on my album, but I didn't go back and re-record them because every song is like a little story, and it is part of the book, part of the movie, if you want to say it. And it's a chapter I don't want to leave out just because I would probably pick a different kick today.
Cool. Anyone else? Anyone?
Hi, Zed.
Hey there.
I loved your performance today.
Thank you very much.
I have two questions. How long do you stay in the studio per week, just trying to mix things up?
I mean, that really depends. I've spent like 4 months in the studio this year. I barely played shows, and I've been literally in the studio for 12 hours a day. I woke up, drove to the studio, had breakfast there, and was there till late night, and then drove back. And at the moment, I'm just on tour all the time, so it's really hard to get even a little bit of time to work on my songs because I use UAD, for example, and I need a lot of power plugs, and sometimes in hotels you just can't, it doesn't work. But when I have time, I will spend I've spent 16 hours straight without a break, just it takes time. That's the only thing I can tell people who start producing. You won't just get a great sound in an hour. I mean, there are people who do that, but if you want to have your own sound and your own face and character, it needs time. Just doesn't come from nowhere.